Harry comes out and gives this interview in which he not only says he doesn't know how long the king has left to live.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
Which the royal family was like, hey, let's not talk about the king's mortality because you don't know, specifically because the king has refused to speak to you since February 2024. Now that is over a year ago.
If you look at the relationship overall, in my opinion, allegedly, of course, we have to say that word after sentence, but
of course.
In the beginning, look at her demeanor in the beginning. She was so humbled, right? So appreciative to be in the position where she was at and not overstepping her boundaries.
Harry, to put it politely, I think she is very manipulative. Meghan Markle is someone who's basically got rid of almost her entire family on her side, apart from her mother, her entire family on the father's side, including her father, which is incredibly sad. And now she's wrestled Harry away from his family.
Should Prince Harry be forced to surrender his title? Should he be permanently cast out of the royal system? As Britain entered what should have been a quiet festive season, a political shockwave ripped through the monarchy, one that may permanently redefine the House of Windsor. On Christmas Eve, senior palace sources confirmed that King Charles III had authorized the activation of a long-prepared contingency plan known internally as Operation Winter. This was no symbolic gesture. It was a sweeping, legally coordinated operation designed to sever every remaining institutional link between the Crown and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex before the start of 2026. Administrative orders were issued immediately. Royal patronages were stripped. Digital records were revised. Royal titles were erased from official platforms with urgency. The era of half in, half out was formally declared over. This decision had been years in the making. But two recent actions finally pushed the king past the point of restraint. The first was Meghan Markle's launch of her luxury lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, a move that directly violated the 2020 Sandringham Agreement. The second was Prince Harry's unexpected appearance as a speaker at a high-level United Nations session in New York, where he positioned himself as a global moral voice without authorization from the British government. Together, these actions forced a reckoning. Was King Charles acting to protect the monarchy or punishing his own son? And now that Harry had publicly positioned himself as an international statesman outside royal authority, how severe would the consequences be? The crisis escalated when two classified intelligence dossiers were delivered directly to the king's desk by the Director of Royal Intelligence and his private secretary. Formalities were discarded. What lay inside posed a genuine constitutional threat. The first dossier examined Meghan Markle's commercial ventures in exhaustive detail. Intelligence analysts concluded that American Riviera Orchard was not a casual lifestyle project, but a carefully engineered commercial ecosystem designed to exploit every gray area left in the Sussex exit agreement. Legal experts confirmed that Meghan's use of her ducal title on product packaging, ranging from jams and nut butters to home goods, violated strict royal warrant protocols. The branding deliberately blurred the line between personal enterprise and royal endorsement, misleading international consumers into believing Buckingham Palace was connected to the products. More alarmingly, the strategy transformed royal reputation into a monetized asset, used to inflate valuations and attract investment, particularly in Silicon Valley. It was, in effect, the privatization of sovereignty. The second dossier carried far more dangerous implications. It focused on Harry's unauthorized UN appearance. Analysts from the Foreign Office and MI6 warned that when a royal, even a non-working one, addresses global political issues such as climate policy and vaccine distribution, neutrality collapses. With the United States deep into a volatile election cycle, Harry's alignment with specific political figures risked being interpreted as Britain's official stance. An informal diplomatic note from Washington had already arrived in London, expressing concern that Harry's remarks could be misconstrued as UK interference in domestic American politics. King Charles was trapped. If he remained silent, the monarchy could be accused of political meddling. If he intervened publicly, he would be accused of silencing his son. For 2 hours, the king reviewed every scenario presented by his advisors. He reached a sobering conclusion. 3 years of patience had failed. Silence had been mistaken for weakness. The Sussex strategy, commercializing the past while politicizing the present, was eroding the institution from both directions. This was no longer a family dispute. It was an existential threat to the Constitution. As head of state, Charles was compelled to act. He summoned Prince William and senior members of the Lord Chamberlain's Committee and issued a concise directive: the ambiguity had to end. A decisive, legally grounded separation would begin immediately. A closed-door war room meeting followed, attended by King Charles, Prince William, and Sir Clive Alderton. The mission was precise: sever all institutional ties within 72 hours, before the Sussex camp could mobilize media countermeasures. The operation was codenamed Operation 72. Its guiding principles were speed, precision, and finality. Every step received the king's personal approval. Coordination between Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and legal counsel at Harbottle and Lewis was absolute. The first strike came digitally. The royal website underwent a silent overnight restructuring. Harry and Meghan's profiles were stripped of HRH styling and pushed to the bottom of the royal listing, placed alongside Prince Andrew. This was not cosmetic. It was symbolic. They were no longer part of the leadership structure or the moral representation of the crown. By morning, the change was irreversible. The second step was far more devastating. King Charles signed orders revoking all royal patronages held by Harry and Meghan. Charities, military organizations, and cultural institutions received written notice. The Sussexes no longer represented the king or the monarchy. Each organization faced a stark choice: retain the Sussexes privately and forfeit royal association, or sever ties and receive patronage from a working royal. This struck at the core of the Sussex brand, which relied heavily on British institutional prestige to sustain influence abroad. Prince William reinforced the operation's legal integrity, ensuring every action was anchored in the Sandringham Agreement to prevent litigation. He also ordered a protective media firewall around Catherine and the children, anticipating psychological attacks intended to divert attention from Meghan's commercial violations. The king ended the meeting with an uncompromising order: no leaks, no commentary, no explanation. Every document would be administrative, factual, and emotionless. He likened the campaign to amputating a diseased limb to save the body. Pain was unavoidable. Delay would be fatal. The legal foundation rested on strict enforcement of the Sandringham Agreement. Royal lawyers identified Meghan's product launch, timed to coincide with Trooping the Colour, as the decisive breach. Launching a commercial brand on the king's official birthday and during Catherine's fragile return to public life was viewed as deliberate media hijacking. Trooping the Colour, a sacred symbol of national unity, had been turned into a marketing battlefield. Worse still was the trademark violation. Physical evidence, including product jars sent to influencers, displayed a stylized ducal coronet and the phrase, "by appointment to the Sussex household." Legal experts confirmed this phrase is protected and reserved exclusively for holders of an official royal warrant. Its unauthorized use constituted consumer deception and institutional impersonation. Clause 4, Section 2 of the Sandringham Agreement explicitly prohibited such actions. Rather than pursue civil litigation, Charles exercised his authority as head of the family and the institution, declaring the contract breached. The consequence was immediate termination of all remaining privileges. Harry's situation was addressed simultaneously. His use of the title Prince to access diplomatic platforms violated the agreement's political neutrality clause. Diplomatic notes were sent worldwide clarifying that Harry was a private citizen and spoke for no government. The response was explosive. Supporters accused the monarchy of cruelty. U.S. media framed Meghan as a victim of an outdated institution. King Charles responded with absolute silence. Palace staff were forbidden from comment. Never complain, never explain became total discipline. Charles understood that explanation feeds controversy. Silence starves it. While Sussex-aligned sources released emotional leaks, the royal family projected calm duty. Charles continued state work. William and Catherine focused on public service. Public opinion shifted decisively. Polls showed 78% support for the king's actions. Silence also sent a warning to commercial partners. Non-recognition by the monarchy became a liability. Investors grew cautious. Support evaporated. Later, in private, Charles revealed to William that none of this was impulsive. He had known of Meghan's plans and Harry's UN appearance months in advance. He allowed them to proceed, knowing their own actions would justify the response. By waiting, Charles ensured the public saw opportunism rather than victimhood. When the sanctions came, they were accepted as justice. The cost was personal. In solitude, Charles signed the final documents removing Harry's UK residency rights and security. Each signature cut deeply, but protected the crown. Harry's records were filed into the archives, history, not governance. The monarchy emerged leaner, unified, and resolved. As Charles accepted the loneliness of kingship, one question lingered. Is Harry destined to follow the path of Edward VIII? An exiled royal watching palace gates from across the sea? And will his children inherit that distance? History, once again, is watching.